So good evening and welcome to those of you in person and all of you joining us online. My name is Emily Ponchel. I'm the Public Programs Manager here at the Newberry. Thank you for joining us for Surviving the Long Wars exhibition close-up and poetry reading. And I would like to say a special thank you to the entire team of the Surviving the Long Wars project, some of whom you will meet in just a minute. I would like to begin the program with a statement about the land on which the city of Chicago resides. Located near the confluence of several waterways, the Newberry Library sits on land that intersects with the Aboriginal homelands of several tribal nations: the Council of the Three Fires, the Potawatomi, Odawa, and Ojibwe nations, the Illinois Confederacy, the Peoria and Kaskaskia nations, and the Miamia, Waya, Takiwaki, and Meskwaki nations, the Ho-Chunk, Menominee, Kickapoo, and Mascoutin nations, also called the region of Northeast Illinois home. Indigenous people continue to live in this area and celebrate their traditional teachings and lifeways. Today, Chicago is home to one of the largest urban Indigenous communities in the United States, and this land remains an important place for Indigenous peoples. As a Chicago institution, it is the Newberry's responsibility to acknowledge this historical context and build reciprocal relationships with the tribal nations on whose lands we are situated. This program and others that center Indigenous voices and perspectives are an important part of these ongoing efforts. The Newberry Library supports and inspires research, teaching, and learning in the humanities. We connect researchers and visitors with our collection in the Newberry's reading rooms, exhibition galleries, program spaces, classrooms, and online digital resources. The Newberry reading rooms and exhibition galleries are open to readers at no charge, with no appointment necessary, Tuesday through Saturday. And I would like to mention that our exhibition gallery will be open for you to view Surviving the Long Wars, Residues and Rebellions until 7:30 this evening. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our first speaker. Ronak Kapadia is Associate Professor and Director of the Interdepartmental Graduate Concentration in Gender and Women's Studies at the University of Illinois at Chicago. A cultural theorist of race, war, and empire, Kapadia is author of the award-winning book, Insurgent Aesthetics, Security, and the Queer Life of the Forever War, and a lead project director and co-curator of Surviving the Long Wars. Please join me in welcoming Ronak Kapadia.
Thank you, Emily. Greetings, everyone. It's so good to be with you. I'm delighted to be here on behalf of the entire Surviving the Long Wars organizing team. I'm grateful for your presence, both here in this beautiful room and on Zoom and live stream. This is a night that I've personally been looking forward to for many, many months. Today, of course, is the first of 4 days in our summit as part of the 2023 Veteran Art Triennial. I'm so grateful to our partners here at the Newberry for hosting Residues and Rebellions, one of 3 core exhibitions in this triennial, which together features over 45 Black, Indigenous, and people of color artists. I'm excited to be in conversation with our artists and poets here tonight and for all of you to see what we've been creating together in that other room. Today is a particularly significant day as it commemorates the 20-year anniversary of the U.S. illegal invasion and occupation of Iraq, as well as the forever wars on terror that have besieged multiple nations in its wake over the past 2 decades, including the militarized wars closer to home. This triennial is an opportunity to think through the lived experiences and artistic practices of veterans of the global war on terror era, as well as their complex entanglements with a diversity of communities impacted in very different ways by legacies of U.S. war, militarism, empire, and colonialism. Surviving the Long Wars is our attempt to visualize the parallels and intimacies across 2 of the longest military conflicts in U.S. history, the Indian Wars of the 18th and 19th centuries, and the global war on terror of the 21st. Although rarely considered in relation to one another, these long wars are endlessly intertwined through similar military strategy and the persistence of anti-colonial resistance and rebellion. We believe that the residues of these entanglements are visible in the creative responses to these long wars by Indigenous, Black, South Asian, and Middle Eastern artists. The artworks we have assembled here not only point us to legacies of survival for communities in crisis, but also offer uncommon experiments in freedom and healing that can serve as the basis for new models of solidarity. Finally, the key word tonight and all weekend long for me is collaboration. Collaboration is an antidote to the stultifying effects of the dystopian here and now. This project that we've dreamed up is deeply collaborative on every single level. I know that my collaborator, Anthony Torres, who's going to be our MC for the rest of tonight's program, will be listing everybody involved in this project, including our partners and funders at the end of tonight's program, so I don't have to do those shout outs. But I must shout out my core collaborators on this work. Aaron Hughes, Therese Quinn, Amber Zora, Miranda Roberts, Joseph Lefthand, Anthony Torres, all of the NEH Veteran Fellows, our amazing graduate coordinators, Rachel Dukes and Zaina Bilal, the exhibition and programming team here at the Newberry, including Sarah Alvarez. It's been an honor to work with all of you for almost the past 2 years, and I'm excited for what comes next. With that, and without further ado, it's my honor to briefly introduce one of the featured artists in the Newberry show, Mawish Chishti. Mawish Chishti combines new media and conceptual work with materials and techniques of South Asian art and craft traditions. Her work has been exhibited at several museums and art galleries all throughout the world. Her work is in public and private collections, including the Foreign Office in Islamabad, Pakistan, Fukuoka Asian Art Museum in Japan, and the Imperial War Museum in London, UK. Chishti is also Associate Professor in the Department of Art at UMass Amherst. She's the recipient of numerous awards and fellowships, including a Guggenheim. She holds a BFA with a concentration in miniature painting from the National College of Arts in Lahore, Pakistan, and an MFA in studio arts from the University of Maryland in College Park. Personally, I was deeply honored to feature work from Mawish's drone art series on the cover of my first book, Insurgent Aesthetics. And Mawish, I feel a deep sense of connection to you as my Pisces kin. Happy belated birthday, by the way. I know it was this week. I'm grateful to finally be meeting in person after all these years, and everyone, please join me in welcoming Mawish Chishti.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ronak. And thank you, everybody, for being here today. I'm going to take off my mask so I can speak a little bit more freely. To say, I just had a chance to look at the exhibition, and I'm just thrilled to be part of this exhibition on top of being in an exhibition at Hyde Park Art Center. To see the works in relationship to the works on the ledger paper is something that I had never seen before. And it has really touched me in so many ways to see the treatment of the paper and to have that history in the material, and then to allow for the artist or the artist to actually give another history on top of that to speak to the current times. To talk about my own practice, I would say that the drone art series started when I visited Pakistan in 2011. So just to give a sense of context of how the works came about, they started off in terms of working on paper. And it came from the conversations that I had with my family members back home in Pakistan, in Lahore. So as a dual citizen who lives in US, but also is Pakistani citizen, I came across this dilemma of having these conversations with my relatives and finding out about drone strikes in Pakistan-Afghanistan border. It was something that was not known to me while living in US at that time, that something like this was even happening across so many, in the other part of the world. So immediately felt the response or felt the need to actually respond to these current events. And that is when I came back to US and started making these works. And all of my research work starts with a journey back home and looking at things from an outsider perspective, taking in what I'm observing, and then doing the works in my studio in the US. And this kind of distance gives me clarity, and also helps me understand my own position in this dual world. So I'm, just to say, that the three pieces that I have in this exhibition, the Newberry Library, are from different years. So you see the progression of works on paper that are flat and then becoming three-dimensional, and how I'm using images that I find of military drones that are operated by CIA in Pakistan, and looking at those images and then manipulating them, or using the silhouette of a particular war machine to give it another skin in some ways. So the painting method becomes giving information to the viewer, which I think in a lot of ways the drones lack, because they're hard, metallic, gray, cold objects that operate at high distance where there's no visibility. So I felt like the subject matter required some sort of visibility. It required to be seen, to be present. Hence the colorful imagery asks for the viewer to look deeper into it. You cannot miss something when it is like that. I'm using a lot of images from traditional truck art genre, which is, interestingly so, it is a specific kind of truck decoration that is prevalent in Afghanistan and Pakistan. And it actually originated in Afghanistan, and during the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, a lot of Afghanis migrated to Pakistan and brought this tradition with them. So this pervasiveness of this tradition, and to have that be parallel to the same region where this drone war is happening, seemed appropriate for me to create that positioning. So I'm happy to talk to any of you about the works that are in the exhibition, as it had evolved over the years, and I'm happy to talk more in depth about it if anybody's interested. But I'm just want to say I'm very happy to be here and very excited to be part of this exhibition and also at the Hyde Park Art Center. And I also want to just conclude by thanking everybody: Anthony Torres, Rona Kapadia, the whole team, Amber, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mawesh. It's so wonderful to hear about your practice. It's so rare. It's a rare gift as somebody who writes about art and contemporary artists to actually hear from the artists themselves. So we're so honored that you're here. And as you see from that there's that image, that beautiful tea-stained backdrop, that paper is running through the entire series here, in particular at the Newberry, and thinking about late 19th century and early 20th century ledger art and its connections to this 21st century moment. And I hope you take some of those connections and relationalities in as you see the show. But without further ado, it's my job now to introduce Anthony. Anthony Torres is going to be our MC for the rest of this evening. Anthony Torres is a writer, performer, and executive director of Combat Hippies, an ensemble of Puerto Rican military veteran performing artists based in Miami, Florida. He is currently an NEH Veteran Fellow on our project, as well as a 2022 National Association of Latino Arts and Culture Leadership Fellow, and a 2021 Kennedy Center Citizen Artist Fellow. Anthony, please take it away.
Hey, everybody. Welcome this evening. Before I introduce our poets, I just got to say this is just so exciting to see old friends, make new friends, And I just wanted to make one quick comment about what all of this work means to me. I think it's just been a really powerful experience to see the role that art plays in building community. And what it brings to mind to me is being vulnerable enough to share and being selfless enough to listen is integral to building community. So I'm excited about the entire Triennial, and I will stop talking so we can get to the poets. Our first poet is one of our NEH veteran fellows, Monty Little, who not only has art in the exhibition, he's also a poet. So he's going to be sharing some work. He'll first share a little bit about the art that he's exhibiting here. So let me just read a little bit about him, and then we'll have Monty come up. Monty Little is a Marine Corps veteran, originally from Tuba City, Arizona, located on the Navajo Reservation. He received his BFA from the Institute of American Indian Arts in 2015 and is an MFA candidate at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Little has exhibited nationally and internationally. Help me in welcoming Monty Little.
Wow, thank you, Anthony. That's great. It's really wonderful to be here. And I'm really super honored and delighted to be standing in front of everyone on this beautiful evening. So my name is Monty Little. I am Navajo from the Navajo Nation. I'm Diné, and I live in Madison, Wisconsin with my family, who are here in support. And yeah, so the work that I have two pieces of work. They're monotypes, and basically what they're about is their statures. They're icons of people who are they're looking back at the viewer. They're gazes that are continually staring back at the viewer, and this stature or these people, these Native Americans, indigenous people, are continuing to always be here. We have this strength and this poise to always stand our ground. And by nature, we're rebellious, and we continue to look at anybody who tries to overcome us. And we have that gaze, and we have that strength to continue. And that's what a lot of the monotypes are here. That's what they're talking about. So you always see there's that one eye looking back, and that's that gaze that's looking back at the viewer saying we're still here. So I just wanted to continue by reading a poem. It's going to be a book-length poem that I've been working on for years, and it's taking some turns. I've definitely edited a lot. And I think it's really gained some momentum when every time I go back to the reservation to Tuba City, or where my mom and dad live, which is in Shantou Junction, I visit my mom and my dad, and alongside with my wife's father. So both of them are dealing with Parkinson's, and it really takes a toll on the family. And so the poems are really about the effects of Parkinson's and what happens to them as they continue to age. So this is a book-length poem titled "First Light Elsewhere." So I'm just going to kind of read a few pages from it. So this part, I'm actually having a conversation with her, and we're talking in a room. 1. The aftermath of snow-melted breath hasn't evaporated on my mother's windows yet. Winter's angled light varnishes her forehead, and we sit in silence, where the space between us is a zero of interrupted smiles. We witness cloud, shadow, inch by inch to our feet, every second, until covered, until we chameleon to bone pigment. Now, the corner room we sit is saturated in blizzards of opal. She asks, was I sipping last night's rainwater? I tell her to wait until summer swallows it for her. She anticipates the purple sky vaporizing the cold. I am now swimming in rough sea again, the mine in the labyrinth of cerulean, where tides welt the beach, but it's me, kneeling, discoloring my knuckles to pale calluses, with no interest of my complexion. A telephone ear listens to the snapping of a sniper's bullet, measuring the same snapping of someone's fingers, the same length of lunar eclipses, same as a dog's growl over a child ashed in nightmare, same as the space before glottal stops. Both of us worry the past is silent, only prefaced in dial tones. Sometimes I talk of bulleted buildings to her, and this motif calcifies on the windowsill, mixing in condensation. Meanwhile, my mom tells me, try to imagine braids clouding a rifle's esophagus. The window's light obscures moments of isolation, accumulating the depth of winter solstice. She's trying to understand my ochre memories of war. There's an impossible willingness of gunfire which comes in fourths. Then an aftermath of whirlwind follows me. The trembling of my hand feels the gentle lift of this wind, same circular pattern as tides. My mom's hand, on the other hand, anticipates weather, and she hears cicadas in the room's cavity. This is where the pool of moon gently sets aside, and I tell her the room is dreamed, filled with iris and gauchade. But before first lightning, petrified patterns haunt the room and is swept under the darkness of horizon. Two, maybe it's the unaccompanied voices stirring under shells of beetles, frightened by noon's past tense. This reminds me of listening to hair singe over blackened embers and slowly closing their eyes. And this part draws the elliptical light somewhere in the tree line, split into the pattern of bone marrow. Several reflections countermeasuring the proximity of daylight. Perhaps it's where desert landscapes reflect dissipating water. Its illicit glow cataracts, flatlining plateaus, where first light has a survival plan, where tenderness tenderizes the horizontal seams, echoing each other. It's possible when snow melts from the heat inside the cup of her hands, and as she looks inside her alcove palms, reflecting premonitions that emit nightshade, she turns to me and asks, does gunfire mute the lit sky? I return, Mom, wounds are called the edge of the desert. I continually amble the rind. My mom is feeble of torn paper. She inserts bitterweed in mud-holed walls. A storm's slanted drizzle dissolves them until the frame is left where wildflowers drown in obsidian mud. Remember, sandstone crevices darken, the vessel missing of saltgrass and thistle. These questions, migrating and diasporic, its spatial silence, yet again, haunting us. following us. As embers glow in ceremony, I realize there are such things as irregular empathy. Thank you.
Thank you, Monty. Our next poet is Erika Renee Land. Erika is a Army veteran, McDowell Fellow, United Solo Award recipient, and a 2021 DeMille Art Fund recipient. Erika channels her struggles and triumphs with post-traumatic stress disorder into art that she hopes will be transformative for others, but overall, she is a writer of things to be written. Erika.
Hello, everyone. So I am a spoken word poet, which means most of the time when I deliver my poetry, I'm very like animated and sliding across the floor. But they're recording in a mic, so I'm gonna tone it down for just this space. Okay. I would like to extend a very special thank you to the DeMille Art Fund for believing in me as an artist and actually inviting me out to surviving the long wars. Um, for philanthropists out there, I want you to know the impact that you all have on people like me who I didn't know that I would be an artist. I didn't know anything about the art world, but I'm immersed in it now, and it's because of support that I am able to do that. And it's been life-changing for me, so thank you. So tonight, what is it? Residues and Rebellions. And I am a war veteran, and so the residue of war is inside me. But I'm finding ways to turn the negative things that I've gone through into something positive. And in doing that, I've had to really reconcile my identity and who I am. And so this first poem I'm going to do for you, it's titled Waterfalls, and it's about me trying to find myself. When I wake up in the morning, I have to face myself. All the wrongdoings, pain caused and suffered is reflected back at me in the mirror. And you see, all that remains is the sliver of myself lost out here in the trees. And I want to be as free as the raindrops of the streams rushing over a steep rift to find the calm of the seven seas. I can hear the screams are mine. Out here in the trees, my sincerity is the deepest. Here, the truest part of me is lying, waiting to be resurrected. All the hostility exemplified by flashing cameras is looking for cessation. I just want to be free to be me. Let the genius in me take off toward futuristic things I thought I'd never see. I want to find a resting place after fleeing the torrential currents of my former strife. I want to be free enough to chase myself as I find waterfalls below the equator. Outside of that place that birthed me, then vilified me without knowing the conflicts that haunt me. I just want to be free, like the cold droplets from a waterfall, finding their place out there after free falling into tranquility. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I've done a lot of healing, and art really did save my life. And I'm able to create and be here in front of you all, and it's just an amazing thing. I'm really blown away by this right now. Um, there's an artist in the exhibition who can't be here. His name is Daryl Thayer, and he is unjustly incarcerated right now. And I'm a 21st century war poet, and I've written a lot of poetry about war, but but the poems have helped me heal. And so now I'm able to write things that are more social justice based and more, just impactful in different ways. And so this poem that I'm going to do is titled Pros versus Cons, and I dedicate it to Darryl Fair. So this will be professionals versus convicts, or the pros versus cons of sending someone to prison versus college. I'm gonna try to project it without this mic. Alrighty. Please don't condemn me to those steel bars and stone walls. Give me a chance at life to learn something. Expand my heights above that church's wire. Don't confine me to those walls. Let my mind learn things outside the box. Don't hinder my intelligence by clouding it with spiky thoughts of how to make $1 off that cracked rock. Let me peek out into the world, run my fingers through white sands instead of crystal powders, scheming on all things that will get me stuck behind those four walls instead of how to legally make 15 out of $1. Wall Street. Why won't you send me to a place where, did you know, California in-state tuition costs $2,000 less over 4 years than a yearly out-of-state stay at an Arizona prison? Touch beyond the Arizona skies is what I want to do. Please don't stifle me over 100 unpaid parking bills. Guilty. Maybe you should have thought about it being a crime. Your Honor, may I please make one last plea to know that straight to jail, do not pass go you've handed me. Professionally, I was not making it. Busting my behind at that stupid 9 to 5, delivering newspapers, not during the night, but during the day, along with coffee to my nincompoop editor-in-chief who won't let me publish my stories because they don't involve kitties. Your Honor, I plead. Please send me to school, and I promise I'll get a useful degree studying something like economics, economists. We need them, right? Because our economy is in travesty. Which leads me again to the beginning of this plea. I got a degree, but my pay is low, so I can't pay the ticket. But then again, maybe it's the system, right? Maybe I could have paid him if I had remained on the block hustling the hustlers, and well, you fill in the blank. See, by imprisoning me, all I learned to do is rob and steal efficiently instead of being in a seat with my hand raised loudly so that I can contribute to this messed up society. Please. Thank you.
Erika Land, spoken word. So powerful. You're amazing. Okay, next poet. Carlos Sirah is a writer, performer, dramaturg, and cultural worker who creates formal structures rooted in Black expressions of possibility that take the shape of concert, lyric prose, procession, film, and stage plays. Sirah's transdisciplinary work draws from the legacy of multiple aesthetic traditions: Black arts movement, Black radical tradition, theatrical jazz, and blues. Sirah is the author of The High Alive, an epic hoodoo diptych, The Third Thing, 2020.
Good evening. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Ronak. Thank you, Emily, and to all my fellow readers and Malish and all the organizers and veterans who've come into town. I guess this is a poem. You can tell me afterwards. Hordes. Sometimes I hear the hordes of hundreds, no thousands of horses' hooves. Legions trod the earth. These hordes roared to the edge of the deep. Hooves touch water. Ships be born in this juncture. The ship swallows me. Sometimes I die in the belly of ship. Look at you, I say. Sometimes I do not die, and I grow old in belly of ship. Sometimes I chew through the hull and swim out forever into the dark water. Down, down. Sometimes I do not chew through the hull, but a storm upends the ship, and I am among the many. We swim up to the surface, up, and the rain beats us down, and we open our mouths. We swallow and float across. Other times I lie in the box in the dark, and I never reach any place ever. Sometimes I sit here in the dark, my body close to the other people's, the hot tongues here in the dark. Listen, listen, diction and plot. Clopping on the bow. Are there horses in the sea? I neigh inside the bows. Hear me, horse, buck that slaver, buck this ship, buck that slaver, buck this ship. Sometimes the horse neighs back. Sometimes I get hungry for iron. Sometimes I lose all my teeth eating shackles, belly so full, walk onto the bow, take any wooden plank, take my weight in blood among these whites, among these captors. Sometimes I am shot and thrown overboard. This happens. Sometimes it is hard to remember the old tongue, and new words are born. I wonder if the sun is what I remember, or has it become something else, and that if it is not the sun, then what is it? I wonder, is the sun or not still sun with me or against me, or something else? I wonder about these things. There is always another unlike you who remembers everything. It is all true, this other says, that which happened and that which did not. If there are enough of you who can remember and learn the song and teach the song and figure out the song and sing the song, I groan. The sky, someone says, sky ready, someone says. Sometimes we seize the ship and steer it home with our mother's voices in the wind behind us, my mother's voice in the wind behind me. I am still and vertical and changing this pitch, wind in accord with heaven. We rock and roll and sail and drift and sail to think what the sky is to be an opportunist here. Sometimes time means nothing at all. Sometimes I am home and I've come from the market and I laugh and I sup and I drink wine. Sometimes this ship is but a skin that I slip off before dinner with kin. And though my memory often betrays me, for there are many possibilities in this species of oscillation, rather this version of memory, wayward, omnivalent, I rather this memory than barter with thieves and slavers who order time. Sometimes I watch myself doing all this. Here is where I meet myself in the dark, in the half light. You are here with me. I see you in the ripples. I cough the sea from my throat and touch land. Watch myself walking beside the horse, away from the sea. Sometimes there is an ending to this story. Sometimes it is the ending I prefer. Part 2. And then the phone rings. It's your friend or your mother or someone that you love who is still alive this time last year or the year before or 20 years ago. They offer comfort, tell you you're made up of soft, good things, of tissue and skin, gut and brain. They tell you to listen. You tell yourself, listen. Fuck listening. You're so tired of listening to the drones, the sirens, the screams of the empire refusing its death. Your friend reminds you of Fanon. You turn, dreaming in the half-light. In this stillness, you hear the phone ring again. You do not answer, and the pandemic wasp has returned. You remember the one that came through your window, visited you daily for a month, stinging you, made you question sanity, torpor, iris, mercury, encampments, visitations, mass, wakes, frottages, redress, revolution. The phone rings again. It's your comrade. This situation, you tell him. Your comrade says, you mean pandemic? You mean occupation? You mean catastrophe? You mean this call of our people? You mean this axis of domination? You mean this total war upon the peoples of the earth, don't you? Isn't that what you mean? When the phone rings this time, it's your mother. She's had another heart attack or another attack of the heart. She's at home in the old country, the land where you grew up, hundreds of miles away? Or is it thousands? She says that you should make an effort, make more of an effort, that she may not live, that she's unsure about this thing called living. And what are you doing anyways? I'm living too, you tell your mother. Your mother scoffs. That silence. But your mother does not believe in rifts, and besides, her gravity is stronger than yours. You accuse her of being a straight line. To what, you, she counters, laughing. Catherine, the dead girl, her sister, the one between you, would have never laughed like that. Knowing this, you laugh in turn. You recognize that once upon a time, in repose, this fantasy of the north, of the west, of the plains, of these promised lands lies exposed. Under that same sun, alive, powerful, no longer at bay, gnashing its teeth, flailing wildly, arms spread wide against the primary peoples of the world. Another time, surrounded by the migratory, by legacies of lack, by the unsettled, revolutionizing themselves under the possibility of new governance, against total amnesia, against the void, against surface, against miscomprehension, another world. In Earth, you remember. You remember everything. Your living room is large. The window comprises one whole wall of the apartment, eastward. The window is an event like any other. Landing on the moon, slave revolt, lighting a fire, an intifada. You take your dish out of the oven and you sit down for dinner. You take it all in. You remember everything. Then you pick up the fork, the tender morsels of fungi. You taste the salt. You taste the butter. It's very good. You savor this flesh on your tongue. And there you are again with yourself, in flesh and enfleshed, remembering everything. Thank you.
Just want to let that settle in the air for a moment. Thank you, Carlos. That was beautiful. Our final poet of the evening. Dunya Mikhail is an Iraqi-American poet and writer. She is a laureate of the UNESCO Sharjah Prize for Arab Culture and has received fellowships from the United States Artists, the Guggenheim, and the Kresge. Her honors also include the Arab American Book Award and the UN Human Rights Award for Freedom of Writing. Please help me welcome Dunya Mikhail.
Good evening. What a beautiful place. I'm so honored to be here with you all. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Salute to you, to the organizers of this event, to the poets who read before me. Actually, to all poets everywhere, and to the indigenous people in this region. Nisaba. Nisaba is, by the way, is the goddess of writing in the Sumerian time. Sumerians are my ancestors. How shall I call you when you have 100 names? I say Nisaba, and I mean praises for the little things. I mean the big things, or rather the little things with their big shadows. The number to round off the killed ones to 0. The chalk held by a girl who draws for the world a circle with everyone inside. The open wings over the fires, the soft moss briefly visible through the river like the faces of the absentees, the comma between death and life, the everyday practice of the doctor with the stethoscope pressed against the chest, the blue flower in Novalis' dream. My poem will not save you. Remember the toddler lying face down on the sand and the wave gently receding from his body as if a forgotten dream. My poem will not turn him onto his back and lift him up to his feet so he can run into a familiar lap like before. I'm sorry, my poem will not block the shells when they fall into a sleeping town, will not stop the buildings from collapsing around their residents, will not pick up the broken leg flower from under the shrapnel, will not raise the dead. My poem will not defuse the bomb in the public square. It will soon explode where the girl insists that her father buy her gum. My poem will not rush them to leave the place and ride the car that will just miss the explosion. Many mistakes in life will not be corrected by my poem. Questions will not be answered. I'm sorry, my poem will not save you. My poem cannot return all of your losses, not even some of them. And those who went far away, my poem won't know how to bring them back to their lovers. I'm sorry, I don't know why the birds sing during their crossings over our ruins. Their songs will not save us, although in the chilliest times they keep us warm. And when we need to touch the soul to know it's not dead, their songs give us that touch. Thank you. Thanks. These poems from this book, The Iraqi Nights, translated by Karim James Abu Zaid. The shape of the world. If the world were flat like a flying carpet, our sorrow would have a beginning and an end. If the world were square, we would lie in a corner whenever the war plays hide and seek. If the world were round, our dreams would take turns on the Ferris wheel and we would all be equal. Thank you. The end of the world. For Lori, who says everything is happening now. Everything is telling me is the end of the world. The astrologers, the deadly new viruses, the ozone layer, the ant converting with the grasshopper, the wars, and his message cold and curt. But other things change my mind. The clouds that always know their way, the seashell that hasn't quite disclosed all, the wishes tossed with coins into the fountain, and the flower waiting to happen. Thank you. And these poems from The War Works Hard, translated by Elizabeth Winslow. Bag of bones. What good luck. She has found his bones. The skull is also in the bag. The bag in her hand, like all other bags and all other trembling hands. His bones, like thousands of bones in the mass graveyard. His skull, not like any other skull. 2 eyes or holes with which he saw too much. 2 ears with which he listened to music that told his own story. A nose that never knew clean air. A mouth open like a chasm. It was not like that when he kissed her. There, quietly, not in this place, noisy with skulls and bones and dust, dug up with questions. What does it mean to die all this death in a place where the darkness plays all this silence? What does it mean to meet your loved ones now with all of these hollow places? To give back to your mother on the occasion of death a handful of bones she had given to you on the occasion of birth? To depart without death or birth certificates because the dictator does not give receipts when he takes your life? The dictator has a skill too, a huge one. It solved by itself a math problem that multiplied the one death by millions to equal homeland. The dictator is the director of a great tragedy. He has an audience too, an audience that claps until the bones begin to rattle, the bones in the bags, the full bag finally in her hand, unlike her disappointed neighbor who has not yet found her own. Thank you. Couple of new poems I try on you. They are not in a book yet. Translated by me. In a word, when my students misspell Arabic, they discover how letters can change fates. Amal, hope, can make an anagram of alam, pain, an exercise I'd hesitate to dissuade. And shafa, healing, will mean some shaqa, suffering. I can't spare them, but when they learn bahr, letting them express a desire to go to sea, I ensure they don't spell harb because they end up in a war before they end up in a war they never intended. Even a kiss, qubla, could explode if they wrote qumbla, bomb. But I can't keep their best teacher, life, from giving them all the lessons they need. Thank you. New gods. Long ago, people made gods of palm dates and prayed to them. But once they got so hungry, they ate their gods, then wandered, still hungry and lonely, in search of succor. Finally, these people conceived the idea of worshiping gods as ghosts in machines, uneatable gods of metal, stainless, perfect, and tireless, except that when they run out of energy, they look around for humans to consume. I'll, thank you. I'll end with this poem, America. I'll read the first stanza in Arabic, and then I'll switch to the English. This poem, when I came to the country here a couple decades ago, so I was kind of in the airport, they put me in a room and asked me so many questions and took my photos. And I was confused. I didn't know if they thought of me as a poet or criminal or what. So, but the good thing about poetry, you can turn any experience into a poem, you know. So this is my immigration poem. أمريكا. لا تسأليني رجاء أمريكا. لا أذكر في أي شارع أو مع من أو تحت أية نجمة. لا تسأليني، لا أذكر لون الناس ولا تواقيعهم. لا أذكر إذا كانت لديهم وجوهنا وأحلامنا، إذا كانوا يغنون أو لا يغنون، يكتبون من اليسار أو اليمين أو لا يكتبون. America, please don't ask me, America. I don't remember on which street, with whom, or under which star. Don't ask me, I don't remember the colors of the people or their signatures. I don't remember if they had our faces and our dreams, if they were singing or not, writing from the left or the right, or not writing at all, sleeping in houses, on sidewalks, or in airports, making love or not making love. Please don't ask me, America. I don't remember their names or their birthplaces, Don't ask me, I don't remember what time it was, what the weather was like, which language or which flag. Don't ask me, I don't remember how long they walked under the sun or how many died. I don't remember the shapes of the boats or the number of stops, how many suitcases they carried or left behind. If they came complaining or without complaint, I don't remember how many stars they counted during the wait. Don't ask me, America. Leave your questionnaires to the river and leave me to my lover. It has been a long time. We are two distant, rippling shores, and the river wriggles between us like a masgoo fish. It has been a long time, America, longer than the stories of my grandmother in the evening, and we are waiting for the signal to throw our shell in the river. We know that the river is full of shells. This last one won't matter, wouldn't matter, yet it matters to the shell. Don't ask me, you want our fingerprints in all languages, and I have become old, older than my father. He used to tell me in the evenings when no trains ran, one day we will go to America. One day we will go and sing a song, translated or not translated, at the Statue of Liberty. And now, America, now I came to you without my father. The dead ripen faster than Indian figs, but they never grow older, America. They come in ships and shifts of shadow and light in our dreams, and as shooting stars or curve in the rainbows over the houses we left behind. They sometimes get angry if we keep them waiting long, and my sweetheart there on the opposite shore of the river carries a flower for me, and and I, as you know, dislike faded flowers. I do like my sweetheart's handwriting, shining each day in the mail. I salvage it from among the ad flyers and special offers, buy one, get one free, and an urgent promotional announcement, win $1 million if you subscribe to this magazine, and bills to be paid in monthly installments. I like my sweetheart's handwriting, though it gets shakier every day. We have a single picture, just one moment, forever out of reach, the circular moment of sky. Tomorrow, darling, tomorrow, the night will take us without a frame. We will shake the museums forever from their sleep, fix our broken clocks so we will tick in the public squares whenever the train passes us by. Tomorrow, darling, tomorrow, we will bloom, two leaves of a tree. We will try not to be too graceful and green, and in time we will tumble down like dancers taken by the wind to the places whose names we'll have forgotten. We will be glad for the sake of turtles because they persist along their way. Tomorrow, darling, tomorrow, I'll look at your eyes to see your new wrinkles, the lines of our future dreams, as you will braid my gray hair under rain or sun or moon. Every hair will know that nothing happens twice. Every kiss a country with a history, a geography, and a language, with joy and sadness, with war and ruins and holidays and ticking clocks. Tomorrow, darling, tomorrow, two rings will jingle in the wooden box. They have been shining for a long time on two trembling hands, entangled by the absence. Tomorrow, the whiteness will expose all its colors as we celebrate the return of what was lost or concealed in the whiteness. How should I know, America, which of the colors was the most joyful, tumultuous, alienated, or assimilated of them all? How would I know, America?
Thank you, Dunya. Before I share some thank yous and we close the evening, I just want to thank everyone for coming, for being here. You know, this kind of event, you know, to share, we need people present to listen. So thank you for taking time out of your lives to spend it with us and to hear these words by these amazing poets. I will now attempt to pronounce a few names, many names of people who made this exhibit happen and this evening happen. On behalf of the Triennial Organizing Committee, we'd like to thank Marvis Chisti, Monty Little, Erika Renee Land, Carlos Sirah, and especially Dunya Mikhail for sharing their work with us tonight. And thank you to the other featured artists, Meredith Campbell, Gilbert Kill's Pretty Enemy III, Rodney Ewing, Darrell Wayne Fair, Frederick Goklitz, and Taryn Lasgun. Our heartfelt thanks to Emily Ponchel, Sarah Boyd Alvarez, Patrick Kepley, Will Hansen, Ana Lu Maria Lopez, Newberry President Daniel Green, and the entire Newberry staff for their support. Thanks to the Surviving the Long Wars organizing team, Aaron Hughes, who as the brainchild of this event, I just want to share, he was not feeling well this evening, so he's not here, but this plaid shirt is dedicated to you, Aaron. This is an ode to Aaron Hughes. We'll take pictures and send it to him. Where was I? Okay. Yes, Aaron Hughes. We'd also like to thank Rona Kapadia, Therese Quinn, Joseph Lefthand, Amber Zora, Miranda Roberts, Rachel Dukes, Zainab Hilal, Becky Nazadowski, I got it right, and Kevin Basil, and my fellow NEH veteran fellows, Gina Herrera, Monty Little, Gerald Sheffield, Eric Perez, and Natasha Erskine. Please join us in the gallery to view some of this amazing artwork. Please also join us tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. at the Hyde Park Arts Center for a day of workshops, discussions, and the opening program of the Triennial exhibit, which will culminate with a collaborative performance by Nicole Goodwin, Hussein Simcoe, and Hippolito Arriaga III. Thank you.